Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hi everybody, this is Roxy with She Rocks It checking in. I appreciate you guys tuning in and listen to my different experiences and hopeful moments in spite of our condition. But I have a really exciting thing to share. Yesterday, I was blessed to do an interview with Michelle King at the King Adult Day Enrichment Program. So you're saying, oh, okay, what's the King Adult Day Enrichment Program? It is a day program, but let's do this. It's actually called KADEP for short, because let's be real, it's a really long-winded kind of title. So what is KADEP? KADEP is a day program that is done under the umbrella of the same long-term care waiver and things like that. But basically, you can be at home a couple of days out of the week, or you can choose to go to the King Adult Day Enrichment Program for people with MS and other acquired brain injuries, which is super exciting because, well, at first it was really hard on me because it hurts your pride because there are people with all different levels of limitations and you're not entirely sure how to feel about it and how do I fit into this bubble of things, and it makes you kind of crazy. And after crying all the way home and, throwing a fit, I had an aha moment. And I said, you know what, Roxanne, you can go do these things or you can sit at home and watch Maury and figure out who the father is. But I got, my big girl pants on and I went back. And in this process, I learned some amazing things. So I went back the second day with brand new, fresh goggles, without judgment, without ugly. And you see people in a whole nother light. You see people who want to live. They don't want to die. They don't want to go to a nursing home and struggle with their wellness and their independence and things like that. So it was just an aha moment that I thank God every day I had the eyes to see. And it was weird because in these moments you're battling yourself, you're battling your perception of others. But once you get over it, you start paying attention to all these little things. You are dealing with a community of professionals that know how to deal with you. You do not have to train them like you do everyone else. You have a first person you meet and they kind of wonder how they can help you, or they look like they don't know what to do with their hands. But these people are uniquely qualified to be a support to you. And I mean, down to the most intimate things like restrooming or whatever else. And fortunately, I'm not there yet, but there are so many people that are. And they seriously need somebody that's not going to make them feel like a job or make them feel bad about the needs that they have. And really, they're just in and out and they do what they have to do. And they talk and they giggle and they play in the bathroom because it's a big, large restroom thing. A lot of different stalls so many people can use, because let's be real, with MS or some of these injuries, you don't move very fast. So you try to get into the bathroom as frequent as possible. So anyways, as I was going, I started making new relationships with some of the staff, and at first it was really hard for me to look at the staff like they were anything but peers because of what I used to do. So, but then I had to dial it back and respect their authority, because they're there to help us, they're there to be of service to us, but then they have a heart for this place, and they want you to be comfortable. But I needed to respect that they know exactly what they're talking about. So that was a process. And then also, I have to get into the, I think I mentioned this before, there's nothing but automatic flushing toilets there. And I went 3 times a week, sometimes 4, and it really did cause a bummer at home because we were debating who forgot to flush the toilet at my house. And usually it was probably me because I got so programmed. But on a different note, I realized this place was not just a program for people with MS trying to, just make it. You get opportunities like adaptive skiing, all kinds of adaptive sports, adaptive boating, just anything you can think of. And then also different adventures, like different things that are so exciting, these new things you wouldn't do as a well person. And you're with people who are going to keep you safe. They're going to give you the tools you need to survive. And like they do different rock climbing things or different things that you can't even imagine that you can do because you use a walker or a wheelchair, but they make it work. And then you go for different adventures to really cool places, like for meditation and just mental enrichment. And there are no things you can, how many things can you say to explain how awesome this thing is? And I don't know, man. I think it's I guess you don't know until you know, but the biggest thing is I feel like it is a opportunity to just be yourself again, and because we're like, what is ourself? After we got diagnosed, we have this whole time where we battle the idea of having the condition and being a part of who we are or being who we are. But these conditions are not who we are. It is an opportunity to thrive in spite of it or through it. And that was my case. Like I said, I used to paint. I used to do a lot of really cool stuff. And I had forgotten about it because I was so overwhelmed with the condition. And let's be real, when you have MS, like I do, your body is battling with itself all day. So it is a full-time job being an MSer. And people go, what do you mean? I'm like, well, your body is overreacting all day. You can feel it. And it's something that's part of your reality. But for me, especially because of my vision, everything moves all the time. So it's pretty hard to forget. But I think going to a program like this could be so beneficial to people across the United States, just anywhere, everywhere. And it is not a program that is impossible because it's under the long-term care waiver. It's not something that is, you're not asking to adjust laws and regulations and things like that. It's just utilizing it in a different way. And I mean, there's nurses on staff for people who require medication assistance. There's a lot of volunteers that come in, and they're just happy to be there, to have an opportunity to get to know what that place is like. And then you also have a lot of interns that are planning on doing something similar in their careers in the future. And going to a place like this is like it's like a little learning experience. And I have a nasty habit of grabbing people, like whether it's interns or it's volunteers or maybe even brand new clients, and try to kind of give them a crash course of how awesome it is. Because I think that they come with a lot of their own personal baggage of what they think a disabled person would do, or what it would be like to deal with. And but I like to shine a little light and give them perspective in a healthy way. And honestly, without this program, I probably wouldn't have been where I'm at today. I wouldn't be talking to you guys. I wouldn't have done those videos. I wouldn't have had these moments. And I had a woman that really kind of pulled it all together for me. And it was somebody I met, and she pretty much kind of told me, she says, or she didn't tell me, but what happened was that I was in a group, and she felt like what I told her was very interesting, and it hit home with her. And this woman, she can't speak, and she can't walk unassisted. She uses a chair, and she knows I can't see. So she touched her, she grabbed my hand and put it on her face so I could feel that she was crying because I was speaking her truth. And I know I've spoken of her for years now. But that was my moment. That was my moment where I decided I needed to do something with it, with my crazy. So that's when I started doing the videos. That's when I started doing these and I got offered the job with MS&Me to do these little radio thingies. And all of these things stem back to the center. And painting, I used to love painting. And then I'd forgotten how much I loved it. I'd forgotten that it was capable. So I still had hands, and I still had eyes, and there was just no excuse. I was just having a pity party. And I started painting at the center, and oh my goodness, it brought everything back. Or even just like the creativity stuff, like anything you could think of. They had they like to focus on things that are going to stimulate your hands or your legs, parts of you that you don't consider, how poorly they operate sometimes until you get some practice in. So like, for example, you have, things that are more like physical therapy, and then you have more things that are like occupational therapy. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And then, it's funny because they do a meal program, like you get a continental breakfast every time you go. And then for lunch, they give you something pretty healthy. It's within the guidelines of, you got the wheat, or the whole wheat stuff, and then a fruit and a vegetable, things like that. So there are people that don't get any of those opportunities to eat healthy. They're just surviving. But even then, those meal things are awesome. But the problem is, it gave me a really horrible, issue when I went home, because they do things for you, the people. Do you want this? Would you like crunchy or smooth peanut butter? Would you like jam, or would you like, blah, 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 blah. And I go home and I start bossing my husband around because I get programmed by the center. So I think in these little funny things, it's great, but really it is an opportunity for us to become a better version of ourselves, and to not forget who we are, and to do things we couldn't imagine we could do. And I've mentioned before, I'm pretty sure, about adaptive skiing and going to these different meditation resorts, or going and doing boating and things like that, or adaptive swimming, things like that. And the sky's the limit. And a lot of times, if you're interested in something, you can mention it to Michelle, the main lady, the director, and she will send it out to the staff and say, who wants to grab onto this kind of idea for the next group or something. So you really feel like you have a voice sometimes. And the biggest thing is, among all the things you can do, like you go on these trips and you have different opportunities to do artistic things, the biggest thing is you are dealing with people there at the place that know what you're going through. And I'm talking about the clients. The clients have lived it, and they do it. They get up every morning like you do. And the ones that they end up going to the center are the ones where they get a chance to interact and and everybody is such an encouragement to each other. There's no poison in that place because everybody who goes there wants to live. They don't want to die. They don't want to go to a nursing home. They don't want to be a lesser version of themselves. And honestly, the cool thing about the program is that is a program where they decide they want to go to it. It's not something they have to do, like a nursing facility type things or different adult daycare. I hate it when they call it adult daycare because the center is not. King Adult Day Enrichment Program / KADEP is a adult encouraging center. It's an adult thriving center. It's not a daycare like you would for children. And you know what? There's an accountability that happens when you go to your other fellow, clients, because certain people look forward to seeing you and talking to you and engaging. And it's a weird thing because you I don't know. There's no explaining how freaking crazy that is because you're like, oh, I gotta go to, I don't want to go today, but then you're like, well, so and so looks forward to seeing me at these things, and I might as well go. And really, I'm doing it for them, but I'm doing it for me. And like I said, it's taking these moments that you have an opportunity to thrive and enjoy life and take care of yourself as best you can. And this happens when you look at yourself with real eyes, but then you look at yourself in hopeful eyes. Say, I could do this, I do this, but I've seen people at the center go from using a wheelchair and then transitioning into a walker, or even some people would use those neat walking sticks, and you have people that are really amazing at things that you wouldn't expect because of their disability. Like there's this one lady who can't speak at all because she has aphasia from a stroke, and she knows every song that plays. She knows who writes it. She knows the words. And it doesn't come out just the same, but she has it because she's familiar, and she has this look on her face of certainty. And she gets frustrated sometimes, but overall she kind of hits it. She really gets it, but that's where her love language is. That's where her heart is. And we have some people who, and I've mentioned Tracy before right there, as she cried and let me touch her face so I knew she was feeling my feelings, because she knows how blind I am from my nystagmus. And but she is an insane text messenger. Like, I can't read her texts because they're too tiny, but she is fast. She's like a freaking, I don't even know how she moves so quickly. But I really encourage people to put the noise out there that something like this could be such a huge benefit to our community, and also to the community of other acquired brain injury people. So acquired brain injuries are kind of like, it's an injury that happens after you are about 23, and then it is things that it's not congenital, it's not something you're born with, but like a stroke, like a car accident, like MS, like lupus, like things that your body is not doing what it used to do. So it's a thing where like you go and you do this stuff, and under this umbrella of stuff, then you have a huge amount of support, which is nice. I want to believe that if it was just an MS center specifically, it would get all the support it needed, but I love the fact that it covers all the realms of different disabilities. But the cool thing is, and I've done videos about this, that I'm uniquely qualified to do the job. I'm uniquely qualified to deal with the MS stuff, or to deal with the other different disabilities, and knowing how to communicate with them. And that's why I go for me, but I love being a support to people. That is where my love language is, where my heart is. So that's my thing. Now for somebody else, they might go because they like having, some yummy meals, and they like having some physical activity. Like there's this girl, Cheryl, she has MS, but it's almost like she has other symptoms, but she has no MS fatigue, and she goes. She's like the Energizer Bunny. I was like, dude, I think they got your wires crossed, because instead of having very little energy, you have like a billion times a billion energy. It's crazy. And she was like, you know what? I'm just doing what I gotta do. She's very positive and she's very encouraging. She's just like a ball of energy. And so she's a benefit to that place. You have me that talks like crazy and shares what I can and try to listen in any way that I can. But she's got just a hug, love, just sweet bubble of energy. It's crazy. And then we have people, and these are just examples of the kind of people you might run into in the future if they decide to do programs in this like this in every state. And don't get me wrong, there are a few programs out in the different areas, but they do not cover the realm of support that is necessary for a person to thrive or to be alive in their actions, alive in their wellness. Just and you know what this thing does too? It's amazing for the people, but it's amazing for the families, because they know they can send their person to this King Adult Day Enrichment Program, KADEP, and they're going to be safe, and they're going to get positive interactions, and they're going to be able to do things that they had forgotten they could do. So could you imagine being a support system to somebody for years and years, and then you find a place like KADEP, and it all makes sense. You're like, wow, why isn't this everywhere? And that's what I'm telling you guys. It needs to be everywhere, because it is. I mean, I run out of ways to say it, but there are so many amazing positive things. Then think about this. There are some people that go their whole lives, being sick from whatever illness they have, and people don't see them unless they're going to the doctor, or unless they're, so there's no accountability. These people could fall in their apartment and never be seen. But going to the center gives a level of accountability, and they think about it. You know what? I haven't seen that person in a few days. I wonder if everything's okay. And that's a part of it too, because a lot of times when you have a disability and you have these limitations, people pay attention to it for a little bit, and then they don't even think about it anymore. And it's easy to see when people look at you with a blind eye. It's like it's like goggles of just, not that they mean to ignore or not pay attention, but sometimes it's hard for people to even look at people who are sick, because it makes them think about their own lives. So we're easily missed or forgotten. But things like this program, things like King Adult Day Enrichment Program / KADEP, they're huge. They're huge. There are people who have been there for 20 years, and they may not have lasted, 2 years if they didn't start going, because they had a reason to get out of bed in the morning. When you're used to having a job and all these things, your purpose is different. And maybe you don't have any, and then you go to the center and you get up every day like it's a job, and not like a job like a pain in the butt job, but like a purpose, a reason to get out of bed, a reason to put on makeup. I call it paint the barn. It gives you new eyes about yourself and about others. And I mean, there are people that have so many different things that they can do, and it blows your mind. Like, these are people that don't walk well, but they can play the piano like crazy. Or these are people that aren't able to articulate well, but they paint beautifully. Or you have people who are, it's just the realm of difference. And I mean, they serve about 60 people a day, and it's amazing. And it's ran by, the staff, of course. So you have a nurse, and you have the director, and then you have a bunch of the coordinators, and then you have the volunteers. You have the interns, and the interns are great because they're excited about life. They are interested in changing all kinds of things and doing all kinds of things. So that's kind of exciting for people. But it's my favorite to grab them and just give them a little extra information. And the staff always laughs at me because, Roxanne's doing it again. She's talking to them like crazy, and not crazy things, but just giving them new goggles about that place. Because I imagine they came in with a different perspective. Maybe they were going to see a bunch of sicky people, and who knows what they're going to be like. And so then they meet me, and it makes everything kind of either more crazy or more exciting. I just want to share. I want to share my blessings that I've had from there. And, it carries over into your life because you become a happier person at home. And you're not a grumpy person. You're not irritated because you don't do the things you used to do. I think it's a very real possibility that if we can have these things in every state and have these opportunities in every state, people are going to live well and longer and just amazingly awesome. It's going to be a thing where I think it just needs to be a part of the plan for each Medicaid state. They need to have one of these places. Because really, if you think about how big the umbrella is of the support when you're dealing with people with MS and then also other acquired brain injuries, it is huge. And everybody needs to have a place like this. And I keep saying it, to the sake of being redundant, this has to happen. And actually, the Multiple Sclerosis Society is on it. They're doing studies trying to figure out how this place is affecting people and how the pros and cons are working together. And I think if we can do this, if we can make noise, if we can make it a reality in every state to where people are getting well mentally as well as physically because of the support systems, it can be amazing. People can just really be a better version of themselves or a just enhanced version because they are, able to be the people they used to be or do more things. But nonetheless, hey guys, I'm gonna get out of here. But anyways, call your congressman or whoever you need to get something like this cooking, because this is a necessary thing. People need to live like this. People need to have these opportunities. Families need this. Everybody, everybody can, we can bloom. So, okay, I guess that's all I have to share today. But I look forward to bugging you in the future and telling you all about some other crazy thing. But okay, King Adult Day Enrichment Program. Look it up. It's in Denver. Maybe we can make this happen everywhere. Thank you. And I hope I reached some people today about this. This is so important. This is a reality. This can happen. Please do what you can. And have a good day. Thanks. Bye.